Hello there, and welcome to episode 1 of Overheard Orlando. If you'd like to know more about what this podcast is about, do reference episode 0 for more information about the format this podcast will be taking, as well as some general concept points. My name is Steven, or Steven Adam, or Steven Ricardo, or any variation of that does not include Steve, and I'm here with Jon Stemberger. John's a local Orlando artist who will be talking about his most recent projects as well as his philosophy on art and a little bit about what goes on inside his head during the creative process. So, without further ado, let's jump right in. All music featured on this podcast, unless otherwise specified, is by Neon Dreams. He is an artist from Canada who has so graciously given me access to his entire discography. So go check him out on Bandcamp. It's just Neon Dreams. All right, John, so I'm going to start here with the meat and potatoes, your most recent body of work. It's called the G-Child series. So what is that and how did it come to be?
G series is a series based on, it's based on a Warren G song. In the song, Warren G states that he would like to, weigh out his options. And as he's going through option A, B, C, he decides to choose D, which is create the G-Child. And as I'm listening to this song, I'm thinking, what is the G-Child? The G-Child, to me, is creating it's a person to write to. It's not always understanding exactly what something is, but the process of seeking out and creating what it is. That is the G-Child for this series.
So I remember once you had compared kind of like the desire to draw something or to create something. You compared it to like the desire to have sex.
Oh yeah.
What you mind explaining that comparison for some people who might not get it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that maybe not for everyone, but maybe as a personal impulse, the impulse to have sex and the impulse to draw are a release. It's a mental release. It's a physical release. It's something now drawing over the past 4 years that mentally I feel like I need to filter and release these thoughts, release these drawings, let the line go.
So I did want to ask though, what do you think would happen if you just stopped drawing for a month, a year? What would take place inside your mind, inside of you?
I'm not sure. Like I haven't really experienced that kind of withdrawal. I hear a lot of different artists say that they have writer's block or artist block, and for me, it's not ever a block. I feel like sometimes it's a frustration to have my drawings in the real world, but within myself and within my own work, it doesn't feel like it's something that...
Having your drawings in the real world.
The real world as far as creating and putting out work and having people respond to it and creating for other people. Creating within myself or just the desire to create doesn't ever feel tainted within myself. It only feels tainted really by like an outside...
Like an outside perspective kind of...
Yeah. So okay. I think that drawing for me... I've developed a relationship with it. And so it's something that I can go to. It's something that I understand. It's something that helps me to process different ideas or feelings or emotions. And I have different symbols or different images that I see. And a way to kind of explore those symbols or explore that world or an idea can be through drawing. So... It's that kind of exploration of a release.
That being said, though, you are pretty prolific. Where do you just get that inspiration? Like, how do you constantly have something to draw?
I do a lot of life drawing, so I look at what's interesting in front of me and just interpret it. For me, for my mind too, drawing, it's not always, it's completely active and inactive in a sense, because it's a shut off as well. When I'm drawing, my mind kind of shuts off or takes over, so it blocks other thoughts from coming in while I'm drawing. As far as I feel like what people are saying about my work, I had a professor the other day ask me what people are saying about my work, and he said, I think it's explosive. And I hadn't thought too much about what people were saying, but that's what he was saying. So I think that I can't really self-proclaim what people are saying, but I do take in everything that people respond. Or it's like being inside a house and looking out. It's hard to see what the house looks like on the outside because you're on the inside and you're creating, and what people are interpreting is only what you show people on the outside.
So if you had to pick an artist who has attained your next goal or your next step, or has already, you want to go where he's at or she's at, who would that be?
I feel like I'm working to create my own path, but I think that Claude Monet has been a big inspiration. I like how he stuck to his gut, and through years and years of painting, eventually became multimillionaire. He ended up having the things that he was seeking, and had the company that he was around to be able to create. I think that the more I think about what I guess the end goal is, or what you're creating, I think a lot is the culture. It's having it. It's not always seeking it and trying to get it. I had experienced it lately that I was in a meditative state, and I was thinking about all these people are trying to get it. They're always going after it. And sometimes it's not, it's just having it. It's just being it. It's just that moment that you're in, that's it. This is being an artist. It's maybe not as glamorous as other people see if they think, oh, this or that. It's life. Sometimes it may not seem as exciting, but then again, it is. Sometimes you look back and you're like, wow, I've come a long way. I saw something recently that was, it's just saying, remember when you wanted the things that you have now. And a lot of the things that I've wanted, I've gotten. And there's things that I would like. I haven't gotten them yet, and I have to work towards them. So
Prior to the interview, we kind of killed a shit ton of time, but you had mentioned, as you've mentioned before, that you kind of had some interest in opening like a school or an academy or something like that. So do you want to maybe go over what that would entail, what your ideas are?
that's the big question, Steven. That's not the big question, but that's the big end game. Is an art school that I would like to have. But right now, I think that I'm in an early stage of development and self-expression. I think I wanna be able to have an understanding of the craft before it can be taught, or even just living with it. So I'm constantly learning. I would like at the age of 50, I would like to be a master artist, and so I've been working 4 years now on visual art, mostly drawing and some painting, and every day it's something different. And I can look at sketchbooks from 2 years ago and be like, wow, that's really changed. And sometimes I'm even finding drawings that I don't remember directly drawing. Once I see the drawing, I'll remember having made it. But it's this history of work, and it's this history of ideas and kind of building up the tone and to hone it. Art is like a visual language, so it's learning to speak with those accents. It's putting it together. It's refining it right now. So
A lot of famous artists go through kind of phases, and their art kind of reflects different phases of their life. Maybe they're depressed, maybe they're happy, drug addiction, whatever, or maybe it's just a certain state of mind, like cubism, etc. What phase would you call the phase that your art is in at this moment?
So I've said, and working on a continual process of new wave impressionism, and the two main influences are the French impressionists of the 1880s and shows like Nickelodeon's Rocco's Modern Life, and the idea behind the movement or style that a little bit like I said before with the G Child series. It's not always having an understanding of the style right away. It's creating that style, and that's a part of new wave impressionism is having these two ideas in my head while I'm working that I can combine and experiment with, of the older traditional easel painters and plein air painters of the 1880s, and contemporary television and radio. And the Impressionists believed, that their work would be valued for depicting the life that they saw around them. And I think that Impressionism is just as valuable today as it was back in the 1880s, because if the artist is depicting things as they see in front of them, but also with the animation side of things is taking what you see and mixing it. One of my mentors told me that once you start being able to see the world and depict the world, then you can start bending it, distorting it, presenting it back to people as you want them to see your own version of reality. So it's this translation, it's this filter, in a sense, of what I'm seeing and what I'm experiencing in self-expression through drawing and painting.
Do you have anything that you regret? Any piece you wish you could take back, looking back in the interim?
No, I think that there's that history, and the history is also a history of line for drawing, at least. And the more that I draw and the drawings that I've made in the past contribute to that history of work. So if I hadn't made the drawings that I've made in the past, I wouldn't be making the drawings I am today. And it wouldn't lead to the drawings that I'll be making in 25 years from now. It's the development, and it's a part of the process.
We've kind of already touched on what people say, negativity from the outside. What would you say to someone who's got the inner negativity, the kind of like imposter syndrome, who isn't creating anything because, they're afraid that it's going to suck, or they have, thoughts that they are far worse or far more behind than they actually are? What would you say to someone like that, or to an artist who is maybe unsure of himself or his own abilities, or, his capacity?
I would say, as far as drawing is concerned, that it is that relationship. And if you never get started, then you never build that relationship. You'll never have an understanding of what it means in any art form, in dance and music, to practice your scales, to practice, your movements, and to build up that kind of history with your own work and your art. So I think that there's a lot of disappointment when, how do I put it, our physical abilities don't meet our mental expectations. And the more practice I found is not necessarily that it's the same as the expectations that's in my head, but I've learned to understand, like handwriting, what my own work looks like. And I think maybe in a similar comparison to singing, understanding what your own voice sounds like, and maybe it's not going to sound as you'd like it, but at least you can understand what it is and then work off of it and develop it and change it, and have more control over it. So gaining that control is a vital process for getting further places.
What's next? What's going on? Like, what are your goals? What are you doing next?
This is it, man. I'm in it. Drawing more, It's, like I said before, it's not always chasing it, trying to get it. Sometimes it's just having it, experiencing it, enjoying it. So,
all right. Well, Jon, thank you so much for letting me pick your brain here a little bit. Do head to Overheard Orlando podcast on Instagram for updates, or if you want to DM me with some ideas, some people you think I should be talking to, if you just want to spew hate, whatever you want to do it there. More platforms to come in the future. Thanks so much for listening. Stay true, Orlando.
Yeah, Orlando, I just want to say you don't have to understand it to enjoy it, do you?